Coach, I'm sure there was a lot you were pleased with your group collectively tonight, but when you get two performances like that from your cornerstone players, just how uplifting is that for a group trying to find its way?
I think it was great. I think it showed so much fight, so much effort, so much energy. I mean, from what they were able to do. I mean, like, I love what their numbers did, how aggressive they were, but, you know, I got to give big a shout out to Wendell Carter Jr. And I think we talk about a lot of things that happen within a game, and guys, you see the numbers behind it, what these guys did. Franz and Paulo were absolutely incredible, but I think the numbers behind what Wendell Carter did was absolutely fantastic. His presence, his physicality, his energy, his toughness, and his ability not to get rattled in situations was a lot what propelled this team to continue to fight and go. And then you got to talk about Jalen Suggs being able to come back, regardless of picking up those fouls. I don't think he was going to play that many minutes anyway on the minutes restriction, but again, his ability to set the tone early with his level of physicality, intensity, and getting the crowd involved, all those things were a big part of this group continuing to fight.
On perhaps an emotional night, there were a lot of fouls, a lot of texts, some skirmishes between the sides, but on an emotional night for your team to have that type of performance in the fourth quarter, just what does it say about the group and what they did?
It's the conversation that they've had. It's what they've continued to build to no matter what's happening, like staying the course, following the process, trying to keep your poise no matter what's happening within the game. It says that there's maturity within this group. There's an accountability to the group of doing the right thing to find a way to win the game. It had been easy to hang our heads in situations, but these guys did a heck of a job of continuing to fight and push forward no matter what was happening.
You opened the fourth quarter with Paulo, Franz, and Jalen out there. What kind of went behind that decision, knowing that to win this game, you probably were going to need Paulo and Franz to go the distance and deliver for you?
It was them, to be honest with you. You know, those guys they're fighters, they're competitors, they're tough. They want to find ways to win. And we talked about the 5-game losing streak and us having a process of getting back and it being like training camp. All that is very true. But when the game is on the line and you want to get something done, this is what your competitors do. That's what they did. Franz, 25 points in the fourth quarter, found a way. Paulo making the right plays and right decisions at time, finding the right play. That's what it's about when you talk about superstars. They find ways to get it done.
What does that say about kind of the ownership that they've taken to break this streak and kind of force their way to a win?
That's the conversation we've had. That's the conversation they've had. You talk about accountability and the right thing and doing it the right way. They took ownership of exactly what they needed to do to find a way, no matter what it was. And it wasn't a beautiful game. It was a physical, aggressive, chippy, which we love. That's exactly who we are, and that's who we'll continue to be every time you step on the floor against the Orlando Magic.
You talked pregame about how there was going to be a sense of familiarity with having everybody back from night one, although it wasn't going to look like night one. To have the energy and the physicality back amongst your group, is this kind of what this group is capable of?
Yes. Yeah, I think, you know, finding that joy for the game, one, being out there together, two, that physicality, that toughness, that aggression, that fight no matter what's happening. I look up one time after we go on the run and I see Jalen going to the crowd like we were in a WWE match. But at the end of the day, that's what he provides. He provides that energy. He provides that joy, that passion, that caring about how you play the game of basketball, because it is still a game and you have to have some joy while you're playing it.
You consistently keep bringing up, you know, the physicality, the competitive nature, and that edge you guys continue to play with. You know, for Detroit to kind of match that energy and that chippiness tonight, you know, do you feel like maybe going about it in the right way that's kind of good for the game of basketball?
I think you have to go about it the right way. I mean, there's always going to be an edge. These guys are competitive. I don't think anybody's trying to do anything that's not right. But you have competitors and guys that want to get after it each night, and that's what you're going to see. And obviously, we're going to have to continue to stay smart about those things, keep our focus, and what we always talk about is using our energy in the right way. And that's pouring into your teammates, pouring into the energy of what the crowd is giving you to get that momentum. And that's why we always talk about having the home court advantage, because our fans were absolutely phenomenal tonight in getting us going when we went on that run.
Franz tied the franchise record for 25 points in the fourth quarter with Tracy McGrady. What were those conversations like throughout the game with him, or did you say
Leave me in. Leave me in.
That's what he told you?
Leave me in.
For him to say that and have the confidence and back up his talk, what does that mean for him?
He's a competitor. I tell you, this is what your best players do. Between he and Paulo, what they're capable of doing when they put their heads down and their minds to it, they've worked so hard. They continue to work so hard. pure professionals about getting it done the right way, putting guys in the right position, understanding our spacing on the floor, executing down the stretch. But just the competitive will and the competitive nature of these two young men is absolutely incredible. And that bleeds over to the rest of the team, and each person provides that with this group.
How did kind of that will manifest itself earlier in the game when the offense was kind of sputtering again, and we were kind of
Say
seeing
what it
some
was. It was not pretty.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty.
It was
but-
not, and it was not. And that's we're going to find. You have to find ways to win sometimes when it's not pretty. But the ability to say, no matter what's happening within a game, you have the resiliency to push through. And we've been there before. We talk about shots not falling. We didn't let it impact us. And if you can stay the course, no matter what's happening, there's a level of confidence that rides back into you at the end of the game. Now you're able to step into your shots with confidence, knowing you've put the work in, and then that competitive nature continues to kick in with each one of these guys.
I'm just curious about the way this game was officiated. I don't want to ask necessarily about that, but knowing that you guys are a physical team and that you guys play a physical brand of defense, when the game is being whistled maybe one way or another, how do you guys have to go about maybe adjusting to the way that the game is being called?
Here's the thing. We shot 38 free throws. We shot 38 free throws. They shot 28 free throws. We can complain, but we got to the free throw line more. So at the end of the day, the whistle was actually looked like it was in our way. So you have to know that this is how the game's being called. You have to adjust accordingly. You can't complain. You can't whine. You got to come together. Use your energy in the right way. The officials aren't going to change in that moment because you complained. I've never seen them reverse a call unless you challenge it, and I think I ran out of mine. So I think you've just got to be able to come together, do the right thing by each other, and keep your focus and your energy on each other versus however the game's being called, and adjust accordingly. Because we're not going to stop playing as physical as we are, no matter what.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be back with Franz and